Chapter 9. Knowledge is not the name of a function. Bodham karma nama malla. I would prefer to translate this in a different way. I would say, knowing is not an action. Knowing is not an action. So I would translate it more like Bodham is not karma. So in chapter 7 we saw that Atmananda described that consciousness perceives itself and it becomes a witness to itself. The moment it becomes a witness to itself, the I thought is born. And from there, many thoughts are born, concepts are born, ideas. The whole realm of perception, sensation, thought and feeling is revealed there. How does all this happen? Thought objectifies and there is the experience of a physical sensation, a big mass of physical sensation, that is the physical body. And same thought objectifies into perception of sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, which is nothing but the world. So there is the dream character born and a dream world born first. This is nothing but a sensation. I may call it a gross physical body. When I was ignorant, I used to call it I. This is who I am. Yeah, but it is nothing but a physical sensation. Yeah. The world of sight, sound, taste, touch, smell is nothing else but perception. The perception of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch is the experience of a physical sensation. Again, the perception of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch is the experience of the physical sensation. So really, thought has objectified into a sensation, thought has objectified into perception of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. This world is nothing but virtual reality. Atmananda had described in chapter 7, if you remember, every morning the consciousness blossoms like a flower opens. First, the dreaming state is revealed, in which there is a dream character with a physical sensation and his dream world, which is nothing else but perception of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. And that itself blossoms into a waking state. The waking state and dreaming state are not different. I do not need physical eyes to see the world. Even in the dream state, I don't have my physical eyes open, but I have visions, I see images. So I do not need physical eyes to see this world. Similarly, I do not need this physical ear to hear the sound. When I'm sleeping in my bed in the night and I'm dreaming, I can actually hear the sound of the tiger growling and running behind me. And it's very real. I hear the sound without the use of the physical ear. Similarly with smell, similarly with touch, similarly with taste. Every night this happens to me. Dreaming state blossoms. From the dreaming, the waking comes out. Waking it's just an idea that it continues the entire day. But I notice this blossoming and closing throughout the day again and again. There are gaps. In those gaps, there is no memory. I am totally out. So I do notice that there are gaps even in my waking state, as if I was asleep, as if the perception of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch was completely masked. So there are many times in this waking state that there is the experience of the deep sleep, but I don't realize it. My memory puts together only the waking perceptions together and creates a story, creates an idea. So Atmananda says this gross world is simply an idea. The idea appears every morning, disappears every night. Appears every morning, disappears every night. Two people, husband and wife, living in the same environment, the same family situation, both have the same house, the same possessions, everything owned by these two people is the same, the environment is the same. Yet, when they blossom into the waking state, the idea of the waking state is different for each one of them, is personal. Your world is personal and it is created from within. Same thing we heard the scientists say, that seeing is not perceiving external objects. There are no shapes and colors in this world. Perception is inside out, not outside in. Hearing is not really perceiving sound objects. There is no real sound in this world. Perception is inside out. Touching, I touch something. This touching is perceiving what? It's not perceiving a tactile object. There are no real tactile objects in the world. Perception is inside out. There is simply electromagnetic radiation out there. In fact, scientists go ahead and take this step and say a bold statement that we have never ever visited this external world of electromagnetic radiation. We have not even glimpsed it. It's not possible for us to glimpse it. So where do we live? They say we live in our minds. That is the limit of science. It can go till the mind. But Atmananda says it is beyond the mind. From the consciousness, everything blossoms. It is nothing but an idea and it goes back into it. Your personal world is self-created. And this world is simply a thought. Today science is saying all this. But our scriptures have been saying this for a very long time. There's a story, a very popular story in the scriptures. There was a wonderful painter and his paintings were like gorgeous. They were admired by people all over that particular city. One day, he just was in a very peaceful mood and he painted the most beautiful woman out of his imagination. He didn't see anybody. Out of his own imagination, he painted the most beautiful woman. And she was unbelievably real. It was like a life-size, huge painting. And her eyes were magnetic. If you were on the right side of the room, it felt like she's looking at you. You start walking from the right to the left, you feel her eyes are moving along with you. He kept admiring his own painting. He fell in love with his own painting. He loved that painting so much, he would sit and talk to her. He gave her a name. He used to have lunch and dinner with her. He went totally crazy. He started believing she is real. And he went to the extent of saying, I'm going to marry her. I'm going to find her and marry her. And he went crazy. He started running from one house to the other house in his neighborhood, asking, have you seen her? I want to marry her. Have you seen her? I want to marry her. This is not the story of a crazy painter. This is our story. We have created a personal world and we believe it to be real. And our world is only an idea, only a thought. We have fallen in love with our own thought. We have taken it to be real. And now, because we've taken it to be real and it is not real, there is suffering. What is the meaning of not real? This word is used a lot in the scriptures. Not real, illusion, it's not true. Means what? Means really it is not out there. But the mind wants it to be out there. My mind wants permanency, wants continuity, wants stability. But it is not there. In the now, if you notice, if you look carefully, nothing is permanent. Nothing. Everything keeps changing. Everything is changing. Because I don't want it to change. Because I want permanency. Because I want stability. Because I want continuity, which is not there. Because of that, I suffer. The only way out of suffering is to recognize this truth. That this personal world is anatma. It's unreal. This is a dream. And the best part is, I am the dream character. I, the dream character, have zero control on what happens in the dream. And I want the dream to go according to me. That's the irony. So again and again I have to wake up and recognize, no, this is anatma, this also is anatma. This body-mind is anatma. Even this perception of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch is anatma. And I have to move towards Atma again and again and again. So now from this chapter onwards, in fact, for the past 2 chapters, it has become a personal journey where I personally start finding out, oh, these are my sticky points. This is where I slip and I believe this perception of sight is real, or that perception of taste is mine, or that perception of touch is mine, is real. I slip in these 2-3 things. I first recognize, these are my 2-3 areas where I slip, and that's where I start applying the knowledge going forward. The only way is to recognize it is all anatma. All anatma. So now, he tells you the world is an idea. So now you start looking at your sticky points. Whatever this is that I'm so attracted to, so consumed by, it is an idea. Idea is not permanent. Can I prove it otherwise? Use critical reasoning also and experiential recognition. your attachment to your own baby, your own spouse, your own parent, your own sibling, whichever that heavy attachment is this person permanent? Yeah. Look at everything. You start working on everything and start again and again recognizing this is anatma, this is anatma, this is anatma. Yeah. Remember, all objects of this waking state are simply ideas. Idea is nothing but a thought. All objects of the waking state are simply thoughts. And all thoughts are transient, means they come, they go. They come, they go. They come, they go. So in this chapter, Atmananda describes what do they disappear into and how do they disappear. Let's look at verse 1. So we'll look at the first part of the verse. All objects dissolve in knowledge. As it is a personal journey, take a moment to write down your personal attachment. Whatever it is, it can be a human, a person, it can be a particular object you're very attached to, it can be a situation. Current, okay? Current attachment, either a person, your child, your parent, your sibling, your spouse, a thing, any object you're very attached to, or a situation in life. Attached to means what? Not just I like, I want, I crave. I get consumed. That is the meaning of attachment, where I, the witness, forget I'm the witness and I get consumed. I become that. Yeah? So whatever I get lost into. Done? So this was current attachment. Current. Okay? Now, next line or next page, whatever, next paragraph. Write an attachment which you do not possess anymore. Which was your attachment? A dear phone, a gadget, something you really loved, an old car which you had to sell or send to the junkyard, your childhood home, some attachment, or a person that has passed away. It's got a current attachment and some past attachment, which is no more. Done? Now, think about the past attachment, that childhood home or that precious thing or that precious person who has passed away. Where is this person right now who has passed away? Where is that old car that you sold? Where is that childhood home that you've already moved out of? Isn't it simply an idea in the mind now? Yes? Can you see very clearly that it was my perception of sight, smell, taste, touch, sound, and today it has disappeared into an idea? It is only an idea? Only a thought? Yes? All these objects of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch that were dear to me, they have passed away. They are no more and they have become ideas. Right now, you are sitting alone in your room in front of your computer. Yeah, nobody has their family members in the room, correct? Where are your family members? Aren't they an idea in your mind? Even if the idea is that they are in the adjoining room, isn't that only an idea in the mind? Are you seeing what I'm saying? Yeah? It's just a thought. Yeah? All objects, sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, all objects dissolve into mere ideas. An idea is nothing but knowledge. You'll say, what? So is Ekta an idea? Ekta on that computer screen in front of me, is this an idea? What are my senses perceiving? Whose voice is that? Whose sight is that? I see her, I can hear her. Is she only an idea? What about my dear family member, my current attachment? I see my family member, I hear my family member, I touch my family member. You remember in the last chapter he said, everything is consciousness. From consciousness, that knowledge gets objectified into thought. Thought gets objectified into sensation. Thought gets objectified into perception. And you experience this world. The reverse journey is the only way back to the knowledge. My perception and sensation dissolves into thought, and thought dissolves or disappears back into knowledge. Do you remember that? Now is the point where you start seeing this in your personal life. Is my particular family member, my attachment, simply a thought, simply an idea? I have already learned that seeing, S-E-E-I-N-G, seeing is a function. Seeing is not perceiving an external object. There is no shape and color there. But I see my family member. There is a shape of a human and there's a particular color. There is a sound coming when that person speaks. When I touch or hug my family member, there is the perception of touch. So what am I perceiving? Seeing is only perceiving seeing. Means what? Sense of sight is only perceiving an idea of a vision. Sense of seeing or sense of sight is a perception An idea of a vision is also perception. Perception is only perceiving a perception. Both are simply objectification of thought. Whatever the vision, family member, money, wealth, car, whatever is your attachment, is nothing but an idea. All sight objects are merely knowledge. That is why every perception of sight disappears into a thought, means it becomes an idea. And every thought, what happens to the thought? You follow a thought, what happens? It also disappears into nothingness or consciousness. Yeah, this is very experiential. You have to start recognizing it. Moment to moment to moment, you are hearing. Who is hearing? What is hearing these words? Hearing is not perceiving sound objects, because there are no real sound objects in the world. Hearing is only perceiving hearing. Means what? The sense of hearing is perceiving an idea of sound. Both are simply objectification of thought. Whatever the sound, family members, words, music, sound of the birds, cars on the street, whatever sound is but an idea. All sound objects are merely knowledge. That is why every perception of sound disappears into a thought, means it becomes an idea. And every thought disappears into nothingness, into consciousness. Take the example of touching. You're touching. Touch yourself. Put your pens and things on. Hug yourself. Let's hug our own selves. What does it feel like? I am touching the body. I am feeling a tactile object. You understand tactile object? That which can be sensed, that which can be felt. So I feel I am touching a tactile object. But there are no real tactile objects in the world, including a physical body that I call Ekta or I. Touching is only perceiving touching. Means what? The sense of touching, which is perception, is perceiving an idea of texture, whatever the texture of your clothes or your skin, smoothness, hardness. It is an idea. Both are simply objectification of thought. So whatever the texture of whatever you are feeling, family members, hug, a handshake with a colleague, the pleasant touch of the cool air on the skin, or the prick of a thorn, all of it is but an idea. It is merely knowledge. That is why every perception of touch disappears into a thought. Touch yourself again. Touch your own skin. Move your hand up and down. Now stop moving. Do you notice the sensation vanishes? Yes, the perception of touch evoked a sensation that disappeared. Now it is only a thought in the mind that I am touching. Follow the thought. Can you hold on to the thought? The thought also disappears into nothing. Means it becomes an idea. Every thought about the sensation disappears into nothingness or consciousness. Same thing applies to taste. Yes, taste does not perceive flavor. There are no real flavors in the world. Yeah, spicy flavor, sweet flavor, tangy, salty. No, these don't exist out there. Where are these? It's an idea, simply an idea. Taste is perceiving an idea. Yeah. So, the sense of taste as well as the idea of tangy flavor, sweet flavor, sour flavor, both are simply thoughts, objectification of thought, experience of the thought. This is exactly what happens to you in the dream. In dream also you experience taste. In dream also you experience a hug. Right? But it is nothing but a thought. Yeah? The thought in the dreamer's mind manifests as the dream character's real experience. And the dream character feels, yes, I'm really hugging and touching and holding and feeling. So whatever taste is there, the taste of you kissing the forehead of your kid, yeah, and you taste the skin, or you taste your favorite food, any taste is nothing but an idea. All taste objects are merely knowledge. So that is why perception of taste disappears into a thought. Thought is nothing but that idea. And that idea disappears into nothingness, into consciousness. Same is with smell. Yeah, I won't describe the whole thing. You get the thing. There are no real odor objects. So even if I am holding my kid thinking I'm smelling his sweat, yeah, or his wonderful bowel gas smell, just an idea, just an idea. Yeah? That is why every perception of odor disappears into a thought, and the thought disappears into nothingness. Yeah? So now we go back to the first verse. What is the first verse? Let's go back to it now that you understand this. All objects dissolve into knowledge. Yeah? Every object is nothing but an idea, nothing but a thought. And they therefore are none other than consciousness. That thought or that idea dissolves into nothingness. Okay. How many of you experientially understand what I am saying? All objects dissolve in knowledge means the object of touch dissolves into knowledge. You notice that? That knowledge is nothing but an idea afterwards. That I hugged my child, I hugged my spouse. It remains only as an idea, and soon the idea vanishes into nothingness. Yes? So, touch we all see. How many of you can see that for taste? Good, good. These are the foodies, huh? The foodies always see this. Why? How do you see this? You see that it disappears, the mind lusts for more because it doesn't like the disappearance. Now it wants more. And again you eat, again it disappears. The mind just recognizes that there is more of a craving and it wants more and it wants more and it wants more. Yeah, so all those who raise their hands are the foodies of this group. Smell. Do you see this with smell? Yeah, easy. Yeah. Those who cannot, please experiment. Yeah. Do you see this now with sound? Ekta talks for 2 hours. If you're asked, okay, tell me what did Ekta speak this morning? You'll be able to say one sentence in 30 seconds. Yeah? So 2 hours got condensed into 30-second idea. And after 1 week, if I ask you what did I say last week? Goof, gone. Yeah, so we have an experience. Correct? Yeah. Now the biggest work you have is to work on the sense of sight. So I'll give you a few clues. This entire week, my self-exploration should be directed towards sense of sight, because that is my biggest obstacle in seeing how this image vanishes. I see my house every day. Again and again I see it. I see my spouse, I see my kid, and I don't see it disappearing. So I have to work on it. Yes, those who cannot see it. Those who can see it, perfect. Fantastic. 10 on 10. So far we have come to this understanding that both science and Atmananda somewhere shake hands. Science stops and says that we live in the mind. Everything, the personal world is in the mind. Atmananda goes one step beyond and says consciousness. Everything arises out of consciousness and dissolves back there. Now this is a moment-to-moment process. Yeah, not just in the transition from waking to sleep in the night do I see the disappearance, but it is moment to moment. So now your job is to start seeing the objects dissolve into knowledge, which is thought, and that thought dissolve into nothingness moment to moment. You have not been doing this moment to moment, right? So now, from now on, the self-exploration part is to see this moment to moment. Clear?